Good afternoon, colleagues. It is my privilege this afternoon to introduce to you and to welcome a Fulbright scholar and esteemed academic in the name of Professor Lina Puckree, who is the Executive Dean at the Faculty of Health Sciences at the Durban University of Technology. She holds this post or position since 2011. Professor Puckree holds a degree in physiotherapy from the then University of Durban-Westville. She also has a Master of Education from UNISA, a MA degree in exercise science from State University of New York at Buffalo, as well as a PhD in exercise physiology from the same university. She also obtained a postgraduate diploma in international research ethics from the University of Cape Town. Professor Puckree has got a few awards that were given to her. The one was the United Nations Education and Training Scholarship, the Fellow American Association of Respiratory Care, School of Health from the awarded her also a award, the School of Health from the University of New York at Buffalo awarded her the Francis Howard Award. Professor Puckree is here today to share with us about our education and training needs. And we all know that from the NSCW, we have got a happy relationship with DUT. And therefore, I'd like you to give a hand and welcome Professor Puckree into the stage. Thank you.
I don't think I'll come anywhere near that enthusiasm from the last speaker, but I'll try. The Honorable Minister, Deputy Director General, dignitaries, members of the board of the National Association of Childcare Workers, ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to thank the NACCW for inviting me as a representative of tertiary education. As you know, DUT is the only institution in this country that offers education, tertiary education in child and youth care. I do feel very privileged to be here. And congratulations on celebrating your 40 years of service and training. In a profession that is at least 2,000 years old, did you know, by courtesy of Professor Anglin. And, however, in my presentation, you will see many areas of ignorance. And I have to admit this. I only heard about child and youth care workers when I arrived at DUT in 2011. But since then, I've been infused with the enthusiasm and the energy of Zeni and Merle. And I'm so excited about the students from DUT that presented today. I'm so excited. I'm so excited about the Isibindi program. I knew very little about it. It really provides quality service through a structured and responsible training program. I'm amazed at the structure that exists to support the juniors and ensure that quality care is given at every level. You have really done an excellent job. But I'm here to share with you the legislative perspective and my perspective in higher education. But first, I will leave you with some clear messages on what we need to achieve. We need to develop programs that will take you to the doctoral level in child and youth care. We need to encourage those who are holding diplomas to enroll for the BTech degrees, because the BTech degree has a limited shelf life. The Department of Higher Education and Training has suggested that we phase it out in 2017, but we are fighting for a phase out in 2021. So there is a very small window period for all of you that hold your diplomas to complete your BTech degrees, which will allow you to proceed to a master's degree. Without the BTech, it would be very difficult for you to go onwards. And there is a very good plan by the NACCW to enroll at least 10 master's students into the master's program this year, and I hope that you succeed. And DUT will do everything that it can to support you in this endeavor and in the future. We need to systematically train the Isibindi graduates vertically.
Sorry, you must move the slides.
I haven't started with the slides. Okay, he's asking me to move my slides. I haven't started with the slides. I thought I would just give you these important messages first. And the other thing is you'll find some errors in my slides. So I think there needs to be a systematic training of the Isibindi graduates. Everybody needs to progress upwards. And the Minister of Higher Education has also suggested that everybody has access and everybody proceeds to whatever level that they can to. And the new articulation document speaks to that. It speaks to vertical articulation, horizontal articulation, diagonal articulation. With whatever you have, we can look at giving you credits. So it is very important. So that takes me to say to you that we are all children. We are all children at heart. And as children, we need child and youth care workers, right? And we will continue to need them. And another thing that I picked up, and you will see it in my slides, is a framework for employment. I think that is so critical. It's absolutely critical if DUT and other institutions come on board to offer child and youth care programs. Okay, basically, South Africa has about 30% of its population who are children and youth below the age of 14. What does that say to us? 1/3 of our population needs your services. And that's a very big need. But where are we now? The certificate is offered by the National NACCW. It is a level 4 certificate, but it has no articulation anywhere. So we need to address that gap. We need to ensure that there is formal upward mobility for those people that hold the certificate. The DUT offers a national diploma, which is at the level 6. And this diploma is in the process of being phased out. In 2015, the Bachelor of Child and Youth Care was introduced after 4 years of seeking accreditation from the Council for Higher Education. The national diploma articulates vertically with the BTech, and that's what we have, which is a level 7. Now, if you look at a level 7 qualification, it cannot articulate directly to the master's degree, which is a level 9. So that's something that we have to think about as well. Whereas the bachelor's degree, which is a level 8, can automatically articulate upwards. Where do we need to be? The demand was 10,000 child and youth care workers by 2015. I'm assuming that that refers to the child and youth care workers trained through the Isibindi program. But to support those 9 to 10,000 child and youth care workers trained at that level, we need higher level people to supervise them, as the chairperson of the board said to us earlier. And that can only come from the professional degree graduates. I'm not sure as to how many professional child and youth care workers we have in this country. The chairperson of the board just told us there's about 7,000, which is hot off the press. Supply. The current number with the national diploma, I'm not sure about, but the number that I got off a paper that came off the NACCW was that we have 2,674 identified to be registered with the board. I don't know if that's correct. Again, I'm saying to you there's errors in my presentation. And there were 11,833 with some training identified by the NACCW. Again, I don't know if that's very accurate, but it could be an estimate of what we have. So, what do we need to look at? We need to look at the number of posts that are available in the public sector, the number of posts that are available in the private sector, and the number of other posts. DUT has to be very responsible when it trains people. It has to determine whether there are posts that these people can get into. And we have been very saddened to find that some of our child and youth care work students, graduates, could not find employment and had to seek other degrees so that they can go on and find employment. And that is a sad thing, because as I listened to these conference presentations, I found that you are doing quality work that is much needed. And I'm sure there are thousands and thousands of children that require the services, and the graduates can be employed. Now, who is supplying the needs? At the professional level, it is just one of the 23 public higher education institutions. Now, that's a huge shame. And Merle did a presentation to the Committee of Health Sciences Deans a few months ago, and there was quite a good uptake, but I don't know if anything has happened since then. We need more public institutions to take up the challenge to offer this professional degree. I think there's a private institution. I read that off the document. At the technical level, the NACCW offers the Isibindi program, and apparently there are 3 privates. I don't know who they are. So, if we were looking at about 2,000 child and youth care professionals to support the 10,000 child and youth care from the Isibindi program, we will have to do some huge homework and lots of other work. Now, I'm assuming that we have 40 graduates graduating per year from the DUT program, which is the only university that offers this. It will take this one institution 50 years to meet this demand. And that's way past our lifetimes. I'm sure most of us, not the youth sitting up there. If at least 10 institutions provide them, then it will be 5 years to meet this demand. And that's more reasonable. So out of the 23, it would be reasonable to ask 10 more institutions to come on board. But the basic needs can be met by auxiliaries, and it is done very well from what I hear. You know, again, I'm saying to you, I'm very impressed with the level at which the Isibindi, the whole cohort of people function. I'm just amazed. But according to the professional board will impose on you that they will require supervision. Again, it's legislation. So, in the complex care, I think you'll agree with me, the care of children and youth is so complex. It is so very, very complex, and it changes on a day-by-day basis. is it responsible of us to only expect the Isibindi graduates to take on this huge responsibility? I think they are doing it, but I think we should support them more, help them move up the ladder. So what is the immediate need? To get other institutions on board to provide the training. And also, I did hear in one of the presentations a multidisciplinary approach. I think it is very important to consider a multidisciplinary approach, and this will help to publicize the work of child and youth care workers. Because, as I told you earlier, I did not hear about child and youth care workers until I came to DUT. And that is very sad, because you play a significant role in the holistic care of the child and youth. And the child and youth are our future. I think we've heard it over and over again. They are our future. So, articulation. Articulation is the key for everybody to move forward. The vertical articulation from the level 4 certificate has to be to either a level 5 higher certificate or a level 6 diploma. So how do you do it? We have to develop a 2-year diploma at level 6. But in addition to this, we need to align the offering at the level 4 to articulate with the level 6 diploma. And to do this, Isibindi or NACCW has to work with the TVET colleges or the former FETs, because the articulation has to happen from the FETs to the UOTs. Then at the level 8, the 2-year diploma will be at the level 6. We are considering developing it. The bachelor's degree is at the level 8. The next articulation is the level 7 BTech. At the moment, we don't have a Master of Child and Youth Care, but we are about to get accredited a Master of Health Sciences, which is a generic health sciences degree that people can enroll into while they wait for the development of the Child and Youth Care master's degree. But the focus of the degree will be child and youth care, even though it is a generic master's degree. And then there will be a vertical articulation from when the Master of Child and Youth Care is developed or the Master of Health Sciences into either the Doctor of Child and Youth Care, which will definitely be developed after the Masters, or the generic PhD that is currently being offered in the Faculty of Health Sciences at DUT. Okay, on the top arrow, you will see all of the qualifications that will be phased out because they are on the old NQF levels. On the bottom arrow, you will see all of the degrees that are on the current HEQSF. At the moment, we are only offering the Bachelor of Child and Youth Care at level 8. The Isibindi program can be developed into the certificate, which will articulate to the diploma or the Bachelor of Child and Youth Care, depending on how it is developed. It has to be carefully structured and developed. And that is key. But that's the natural progression. Now you will see exactly what I said. There's no articulation from the level 4 to the national diploma. And that's a problem we have to address immediately. Then, from the BTech to the master's degree, we need to do something about that. We can confer status, which is what we are doing at the moment, but I'm sure there will only be a limited time in which we would be able to do that. So I'm suggesting that anybody who wants to do their master's degree, please, if you have a BTech, try to do a master's degree. A master's degree can be full-time or part-time, but it doesn't have to be in residence You don't have to be at the institution. You can do it from a remote site with your supervisors at DUT. And you would get all the guidance with all the electronic measures that we have at the moment. We have the Skype, we have all kinds of emails and all kinds of ways of communicating. So that's the creating articulation is a very big feature of higher education today. There is a document out for comment. So the challenge is to develop articulation from level 4 to level 6, and if need be, create a level 5 certificate, higher certificate, get as many child and youth care workers with diplomas to enroll for the BTEC before the phase out. The phase out will be 2021 if we beg, if we really do beg from time to time. And then we need to work on the master's and doctoral degrees. So I just want to share with you the program process development. Many people squeal with us and they think that we take too long to develop programs. But we are bound by legislation. So when we want to develop a program, we have to develop the application, which requires an environmental scan. We need to see what is the demand for the service in that profession. We need to look at the employment potential or possibilities that exist. And that is where the employment framework is so important, because we have to prove to the Department of Higher Education and Training that there are enough posts for these people to get into. Otherwise, they don't approve our program to be included on the university's program qualification mix. How sustainable is this program? Once we've developed it, is it sustainable? Do we have adequate numbers of staff to teach on this program with the required qualifications? At the moment, no, we don't. And therefore, we need to get the people with BTECs on to do their masters so that they can join the academia. And then the resources. The resources actually is the easiest part in all of this. And then the application goes to the Department of Higher Education and Training, and they take some time to consider it, look at all of these elements, and inform us about whether our application has been successful. Now, once that's done, we have to go through a whole range of processes, both internally in the university and externally. So the first step is the program qualification mix clearance by the Department of Higher Education and Training, which takes 3 or more months for us to hear from them. Then we have to submit our application of the program for accreditation to the Council for Higher Education. And this takes no less than 18 months. We are very lucky if we hear from them in 18 months. Sometimes it takes longer. Now, I have to tell you, the bachelor's degree that we've implemented in 2015, I think work commenced in 2011 on that program. It was ready for implementation in 2014. It couldn't be implemented because we didn't receive the final letter from the Department of Higher Education and Training that it would be a funded program. And it was very clear that we may not implement a program without the final letter. It has to then go to the South African Qualification Authority for approval and to be placed on the public list of programs. And then the final letter comes from the Department of Higher Education and Training to the institution to say that this program will now be funded and it is safe for you to start implementing it. And you know that if we receive that in November or October, we cannot implement it the following year because we have to advertise it, we have to recruit students into the program, and generally students' applications close around from June to September. So that takes us to the following year. So those are some of the hurdles that we go through, but we push and we shout and we scream and we do all sorts of things to try to get our programs accredited. Then it comes to the implementation, which is 18 to 24 months later. And then we have the constraints. Only those numbers of students that are on the enrollment plan approved by the Department of Higher Education and Training will be funded, and those are the only numbers of students we can take. Right now, we have an enrollment plan that goes from now until 2019, and I think the maximum number of students on that enrollment plan is 50, so we will not be able to take any more than 50 students per year up to 2019. And also the infrastructure at the moment can only accommodate up to 50 students. And then we need academics to meet the minimal requirements to teach on degree programs. And that's a huge challenge, because this is a profession that has only diplomas, people with diplomas. How do you get diploma people to teach on degree programs? The CHE won't allow it. But we have to beg and try all sorts of things to do that, which is what we are doing. And then the scarcity of the academic staff. Now, the admission information is all on the website, and you can go and look at it. The admission requirements are very strict. The alternate routes are generally used from time to time. And the guidance documents, you can go and look at it. The HEQSF, that was the gazetted document, and the admission requirements is also gazetted documents. So thank you very much. I hope I've clarified for you tertiary education, child and youth care.
Professor Puckree, we want, on behalf of the House, want to say thank you for sharing with us and for being also the voice, the advocate for tertiary education for our child and youth care workers. Thank you very much for coming and sharing that with us.
Thank you very much.